The gentleman I'm talking with today is covering the new science of objection management, which is a bit of an irony because he's been selling for over 60 years now. Jacques Wiesel is a Holocaust survivor, a world's top salesman for Encyclopedia Britannica, and he generously shares his story with us on how he really struggled at the beginning and what he needed to do to turn around his selling success. He's very specific about it. He shares with us really what are the traits that have led to successful selling, and in particular, how he deals with objections. So please keep listening. I'm curious, can you share with our audience how you developed your perspective and enjoy almost 60 years now of sales success?
Okay. Yeah, well, I first began selling something that I believed in, which was very important. I'm a Holocaust survivor. When I came to America, I didn't speak English. And when I got to high school, I spoke very fractured English.
Okay.
So I bought a set of encyclopedias for 19 cents a volume, I remember, in our local marketplace. Every week you got another volume, A, B, C, D, etc.
Okay.
And I recaptured some of my thinking then that I had lost for almost 3 years. And I got interested in encyclopedias as a great help.
Okay.
So in 1958, I began to sell Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, when it still weighed 80 pounds and it wasn't three discs.
Yeah.
So I remember carrying it many times at Christmas time when I promised delivery. But I was a weightlifting instructor, so I didn't mind. I could handle the 4 or 5 flights.
Part of your training regimen.
Exactly. So from there, I was number one in the 3rd year.
Okay.
Because I learned not to follow the rules.
Ah.
Yeah. The rules were simple. They gave me a 45-minute presentation to read and a volume, it's, a sample volume. And I went out there and I read. I'm a good reader. And nobody bought. So I sold a lot my first month. I sold my bicycle. I sold my books. I sold my record collection, etc. But no encyclopedias. Until I said to myself, Jacques, how would you like to be sold? And the answer was simple. I would like to be asked information, pull out information out of me, which eventually would make it easy for you to sell me. So I devised an 8-minute questionnaire. And from that 45 minutes, lengthy, overlong, etc., I became number one selling Encyclopedia Britannica in the world in the 3rd year. And I moved from a roach-infested East Side apartment on East 91st Street, Manhattan, to a brand new apartment on Central Park West with a Lincoln Continental down there, the American dream.
Yeah,
of course,
all from encyclopedias.
All from encyclopedias. And I didn't have to learn every word in it, I just dabbled in it once in a while. So I had the American dream, but I worked 7 days a week, and it cost me my first marriage. So there's a price to be paid for everything.
Right.
So from there, go ahead.
So wanted to just not dwell on it, but your perspective in life certainly was shaped by being a Holocaust survivor. So how do you think you carry that into your attitude as you're going through your selling day or working with different people?
I have that number one quality that's required according to Harvard University, and that's empathy. I really can be in the other person's shoes when I get the answers to my 8-minute questionnaire. Okay. And I piggyback on that very well and open them up literally like a ripe plum. When you first see the prospect, there's a wall between you two, and you got to cross over it or walk around it.
Okay.
The best way to do that is to ask questions, not to hit statements out there. And I ask a question, I get the answer. That's step number one. I ask the second question, I'm on the second step. You keep on going up the steps, and eventually I'm on his side or her side. And then the sale becomes very easy because now we're almost friends. They trust me, which is the most important ingredient in selling.
Well, I imagine as savvy as you are and as empathic as your process is, you still occasionally do hit objections. And I'm curious, you say that you've really practiced the new science of objections. So how would you describe that?
Okay, I call it the new science, although I haven't seen it anywhere written except in my own material.
Okay.
So the new science is very simple. There are no objections. That's baloney. There are no objections. They are stalls. And all you have to do is understand it as a stall, answer it gently, walk around it, behind it, and hidden behind it is the real objection.
like that. So when you have worked with other sales reps as a coach and manager, tell me, how do you help them over the hurdles of mindset or even what they practice when they're dealing with objections in a call?
Good question. Good question. First thing I do, and I've done this for Dun & Bradstreet all over the country, their seminar division. I've done it for the American Management Association. When it comes to selling, I have a questionnaire that asks the following. Please fill in your best answer, and I give the 6 most given objections, what they call objections. Okay. And I get less than 5%, less than 1 out of 20 who really knows how to answer them, which means they're losing sales like crazy, and they're making it easy for the next person to come in and close a sale.
Now, do you know the 6 objections off the top of your head?
Well, I don't need them off. I'm 83 years young. I don't need it off the top of my head.
Okay.
They're right here. I can't afford it. Call me in 6 months. I want to check other prices. I won't sign anything today. I want to think it over. Well, my brother-in-law's in the business. And those are the things that stump people. And the answers I get are incredible. Some of them you want to laugh at. Some of them you want to cry at, because these salesmen are so naive or stupid at times that they really have never learned the subject of selling. They may be very good at what they do. In other words, they know their product or service very well. But when it comes to closing the sale and gently getting the order, they lose it completely. So I've made it my business to go around the country and do seminars on closing the sale, because that's where the help is needed.
Now, have you ever come across a response to one of those 6 objections that just wowed you? You thought, wow, that is the way this question needs to get handled.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'd have to think on that one. Well, yeah, what somebody said to me, for example, somebody wrote in their questionnaire, call me in 6 months. He wrote the answer that he tells his client, I may be dead in 6 months. Like the client really gives a hoot.
Right.
Right? So he's placing the onus, the guilt on the client. The same thing happens sometimes when they say, well, if I don't get the sale today, I'm going to lose out a chance to go to Hawaii for 2 weeks. Like, I give a hoot about you going to Hawaii.
Exactly.
Do me a favor. Yeah, leave the problem where it is with you. Don't put on my shoulders. I don't want to be driven by guilt to do anything. It's long gone.
Yeah, exactly. So what does it take to get sales reps from nervous or not well prepared to really excelling, that you, from your perspective, view them as a master at really navigating the sales process and objections?
Well, the first thing you have to remember is that you're here to help the other person. And that particular sale should not matter in your income, should not be the destroyer of the month of bills or the enhancer of the bills for the month. It has to be for the other person always.
I hear that often, and yet some sales reps are going to be in that very position, that this is a make or break sale. Maybe they're on warning and they might lose their job. So they might be actually living with that pressure. How do they deal with it so that the customer is not feeling that?
Well, they have to deal with that before they meet the customer.
Okay.
One of the first things I always tell them is, if you're in a car going to your calls by car, which we do down here in Florida, as you stop the car, get on your right shoulder, just dust off your ego and say, you sitting over there in that seat, and I'll get back to you when I'm back in the car.
Okay.
Make sure your ego does not interfere with the call, but make sure you stroke the other person's ego as much as it's needed.
Okay, that makes sense. So, Jacques, what would you say is the most important thing that you want to leave our audience with that will help them immediately be better at how they handle objections?
Well, I have product belief. That's crucial. So it makes it easy to sell. So there are no lies between me and the prospect.
Okay. Product
belief. And it is my intent that if they can afford it and it is a product for them, I will pass it on to them today. It's a philosophy. And I'm right more times than not.
There you go. Well, I wish you many more years of selling success. And I appreciate that you joined us and shared your wisdom with us today.
Well, thank you very much.
Don't you just feel smarter already? I tell you, with all of the interviews that I've done for Sales Mastery, most days I feel like I can conquer the world. If you want to make sure to catch all of our interviews with chief sales officers, experts, top sales producers, connect with us on our YouTube channel right here. And if you want access to all of the resources that we have for you at Sales Mastery, you can connect with us right here. Our goal is to make it fun and to make it simple for you to stay on the leading edge of selling. So connect with Sales Mastery for the smart way for you to become your best.